kind of just taking questions about just anything. We're just kind of like specifically talking about the nerd episodes, just kind of like, you know, the history of it, any behind the scenes stuff. You know, there's been a lot of things on the DVD bonus features and all that, but we're trying to like think of anything that maybe we haven't said before or something cool, you know? That's one thing I'm gonna do. And the other thing that's gonna help a little bit, to have someone else up here to talk with me about them, you know, someone who's been behind the scenes for a long time, and, you know, and everybody asks every year, where's motherfucker Mike? Well, motherfucker Mike. To most people, the nerd's been around for about 6 years now. You know, it first went on YouTube.
Then there was the footage you had from The Anger Begins. I always thought that was cool. You actually have real footage of you as a kid playing video games.
Yeah, that's really fortunate, I guess, because you don't really, a lot of times you talk about, oh, I played this game as a kid, and you remember all these memories, but it's a good thing to actually have the footage of yourself as a kid.
I lose every game!
Anyway, you had a lot of videos of you being like a kid doing games. So after that, once I sort of felt like I got involved was James and I went to college together. He went for film, I went for animation, and that's where we met. And the first time I ever met James actually was like at a party, and we got pretty drunk, and the first night I ever met James.
Well, I got Ozzy Osbourne was doing a CD store signing. It was when the album Down to Earth was coming out, and he had the CD store signing, and actually it wasn't a signing, it was photographs only, but anyway.
That was around 2000 or so?
Yeah, 2001, I think, and I went to that, and I was like really excited because I came back, I got the picture, I'm like, oh, look, you know, I met Ozzy Osbourne, and then I was looking for one of my friends who I knew would really appreciate it. He was over a party that was your roommate at the time, and I went over there, and there's a party going on in Mike's apartment, and yeah, I got so drunk I left the picture in the apartment, I forgot about it, and then like the next day I came over to get the picture, and you were there, and you were like, oh yeah, you were really drunk, I got the picture here, and the picture was like in your room or something, and you're like, oh yeah, here, it's over here, I'll go get it. And when you walk in there, I like see into his room, and he's got like all these video games I've never seen in my life, like the Atari Jaguar and stuff.
I had the Atari 5200 actually, which I think might have been the first time you ever saw it. And I was trying to tell you about like the controller, how much the controller sucks, and you were like, oh man. And then I was showing you some of like those Atari porn stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, so I had a lot of the video games back in college, and everybody would come over. Lucas would come over, our friend who did that Full House Tournament Fighter video, which some of you might have seen. He used to hang out with us. Anyway, that's kind of where it actually began for us, was like back in college. And then James did his senior film in college, which was The Blue Hole. And after that, you worked for about a year on your senior film?
Yeah, you know, like you get a year your senior year to, you know, work on your final film.
So by the end of that, you were kind of tired.
I want to do something different. Even though, like, you know, you love what you do, but then when you do it so much, you're like, oh God, I got to do something else. So I had, you know, the game Castlevania II, Simon's Quest, and I remember we played it in college with our friend Lucas, who he was talking about, and that's where we start, you know, having all these conversations about it. Like, why the hell does he have to like find all Dracula's body parts and stuff? And we just, you know, found the humor in a lot of it. And then I did that episode kind of like a joke to, you know, I made a video where I'm just ranting about Castlevania II, and I put them on like VHS tapes.
Somebody had one actually. Is he here?
That was crazy. Yeah, that was funny. Someone actually, one of the original tapes came back to us today. Like someone had signed it.
But originally it was called, it wasn't The Angry Video Game Nerd. Originally it was called Bad NES Games.
Yeah.
Any quotes you can remember from Simon's Quest?
The morning sun has vanquished the horrible night. How about vanquish this horrible game?
All right.
But does anybody have any questions about the Castlevania II episode?
Why Castlevania II? Why not any other bad Castlevania game?
I don't know, that's a good question. It just seemed to be the one that I played the most.
A lot of bad Castlevania games.
Yeah, but that was the one I grew up with, so I knew, well, I mean, I played all of them, but the second one was always that, like...
Castlevania 64 is the one I can't stand the most.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So after that, after the Simon's Quest video, that was just basically James talking over game footage. And then the second video, James was over my house and we were just playing some games. And I had about 400 NES games at the time. And we were just James was going through some of my games or whatever, and he found, he's like, oh, what's this game? Oh, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And you probably all know James loves like horror movies. So he's like, yeah, when I was a kid, you know, I went to Blockbuster Video and I rented this game. He wanted to borrow it from me. So he took it home.
I'm like, oh, I remember this horrible game that traumatized me. Can I play it?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Here it is. Here's the piece of shit game. Who the hell spent this much fucking money on this game?
So I let him borrow the game, and then next time I saw him, I think maybe a week later, he's like, oh, I got something to show you. I'm like, oh yeah? And so we pop up in the tape or whatever, and it's him doing the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde video. But this time there wasn't really much game footage. He was all just like in the shirt. So that was kind of the first time you saw the character. That was the first time you saw the nerd. After that, the third episode was sort of a hybrid.
Oh, wait a minute, actually, one quote
okay,
from
go ahead,
that.
go
I
ahead.
just remember the quote at the end, I'm dead fucking serious.
Yeah.
That was how the video ended.
I
Yeah.
am not kidding. I am dead fucking serious.
Dead fucking serious.
That was going to be like one of the nerds like catchphrases, and I guess it was for a while. So anyway, after that, so it was Simon's Quest was all the game footage. The second one was mostly you on screen, and then the third video is the nerd we all have come to know and love, where you combined the game footage with the nerd on screen, and that was the Karate Kid video.
And that was the first one, when I made that one, it was going to be a trilogy. That was going to be like
that was
the
going
last
to be the
one.
last one. Yeah.
It was, but that one was also so much better. Like I put more time into that episode than the others.
Right.
And that was also when YouTube was around. So now there was this new way you could upload videos.
Well, the first 3 videos were on Cinemassacre just as like QuickTime files.
Yeah.
For a long time, and that was, you know.
Because I didn't think that much, I didn't know it would be so big, so I was just
Right.
like, okay, I'll put it on the site. And then you're like, oh, let's put it on YouTube. I'm like, oh yeah, YouTube. Like I didn't think
Yeah,
YouTube.
it's like
I didn't think
you
YouTube
didn't even know
would be
you didn't
that
even know
big.
what YouTube was. I was like, there's this new site where you can upload videos called YouTube. It was like,
And
wow,
like, and it's
you
free?
can add tags. It's so cool.
People can comment on them.
Yeah. So it was 3 episodes, and that was it. That was it. That was going to be the end of the series. It was just going to be the trilogy. And then I was like, dude, no, this is so funny. Like, you got to make another one. We had a job working together, like editing videos for a while, and I was pestering him for a while. I'm like, that Karate Kid video is so funny. You got to like make another one. He's like, all right, I think it's just a trilogy. That's enough, you know. And I'm like, no, make another one. And then he's like, all right, finally. He's like, all right, what do you want me to do? And I'm like, and then we got a stack of games out, and I chose to do Roger Rabbit. And then we sat, and I remember recording Roger Rabbit with you, and we had like the little camera, and there was a little LCD screen, like about this big, you know, and the Roger Rabbit video, we were actually playing it on that little LCD screen. So when you watch that video, it's like us sitting there like trying to play it on that.
Yeah, I know.
That's how we used to do it when we didn't really
I
know how
actually
to
forgot
record.
about that.
Yeah.
When you had to play them on a screen about this size.
Yeah.
You know?
Have you actually played any other Karate Kid games?
Oh, are there any more? What? No, I only played that one. Yeah.
What's the other one?
What's the other one called? Oh no. As far as I know, I think there's only the Nintendo one, isn't there?
Unless there's one of the new movie.
Oh, what, the next Karate Kid? Oh, you mean yeah, the
I mean like the J.D. Smith one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know actually.
No, not the next
Yeah,
Karate
I'm
Kid.
sure it'd be much better though.
Yeah, anything would be better.
Roger Rabbit, anything left?
Yeah,
about them?
that's when we uploaded the videos onto YouTube, and it was amazing because before that, going to college and all that, it was like you try to show somebody one of your movies, and you show it to like a couple people, would be the most people you could get. So when we put these videos on YouTube, it was like, wow, 20,000 people watched the video. It was like mind-blowing. So it was like, at that point, you kind of felt like, well, I have to make more now.
I didn't think those numbers were real.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, I couldn't imagine there's actually a room of real people and that there's people who actually watch these videos. I just couldn't imagine it because, you know, before you just put it on a VHS tape and you hand it out to your friends and maybe show it at like a party or something, but.
The first one you did for Screw Attack was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle episode. And I remember also playing that game with you. We were sitting there going back and forth. And I remember the part of it that when you handed the controller to me, and that made it in the video, was the part where like Michelangelo is like jumping and trying to get the pizza over and over, and he's trying to get through that like little hole to get the pizza. And also, we're trying to figure out like how do you get across that gap? And then I'm going back and forth, and I'm like, oh, you can just walk over it. And then you started laughing at me. You're like, you didn't know that or whatever. So I walk over, and then anyway, that ended up in the video. So that's just kind of like how we work. We play the games together, and then I might say something, and then if it's funny, James will like end up using it in the video.
Yeah.
Well, you can just walk over it?
So any quotes you remember from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle episode?
Would you like the TMNT rant? There was a time I used to be able to remember that, and as the years went on, I started to forget.
You know what part of that I liked when you said, "Splinters my ass and shredders my ass and splitters my balls."
Yeah, you know what's funny? Like originally it was going to be this game shreds ass and splinters my balls, but then I was like, that sounds like splinter is my balls. That's funnier because it doesn't make any sense. It goes like, cowabunga. Cow fucking piece of dog shit. This game is diarrhea coming out of my dick. This game is as appealing as a fucking ooze-infested, dirty fucking sewer rat shit. I've had more fun playing with dog turds. Shredders my ass and splinters my balls. This game is an inside-out asshole regurgitating putrid anal fecal matter. I'd rather fucking yank all the hairs out of my scrotum. I'd rather drink diarrhea vomited out of a buffalo's anus. It sucking fucks, it fucking sucks, it fucking blows, it's a piece of shit, and I don't like it. Oh yeah, so back to Future episode. Yeah, there was an interview recently, like maybe a year or two ago, with Bob Gale, writer of Back to the Future, and I think he actually quoted the episode, I think, or like he linked to it in the interview or something like that.
So basically, he's seen it. So the guy who made Back to the Future has actually sat and watched that video, which is mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, I mean, it just looked like. At first, I'm like, okay, well, it's not.
Can you imagine like Michael J. Fox sitting there watching?
Yeah, I know.
Like, about that.
And AJ LaCasio, the voice actor of Marty, said that Bob Gale saw it. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. You never think. Oh, one thing that was funny. The Back to the Future episode. They used a clip of it on MTV when they had like a little segment about like viral videos on MTV News, and then I'm in there for like a brief clip where I'm talking about like this game is just as bad as like if you just shat in a bag and wrote Back to the Future on it or something. And I'm like, okay, I am on television talking about shitting in a bag. I didn't see that coming.
And I think I remember that's when we first started putting stuff in the background for videos. Didn't you like stick like a teddy bear or something in the background just to see if like anybody would notice?
Did anybody notice the teddy bear? Yeah.
He remembered.
Yeah, there's just like, it's just, I just put random things. Like in the Karate Kid episode, I have like a stuffed animal sticking out of my pocket, and just like, I would do stuff just to see if people would comment, because
like the early episodes were kind of like, I thought the room was sort of like barren, so I would like bring some of my gaming stuff over. If you remember the Bible Games episode, that little like Bowser on the TV, like that was mine. I brought that over.
Yeah.
I was like decorating the room with gaming stuff. I'm like, this doesn't look gamer-ish enough.
Yeah. Hey, you got one right there? Which poster?
Toaster.
Oh, the toaster, yeah. Yeah, well, nothing happened to it. It just, it was just a digital effect. I mean, is that what you mean? Like,
when the fire comes out of the toaster? Yeah, that was just an effect he put on it. The toaster didn't really explode.
Yeah. I thought maybe you were talking about like the toaster, the Nin toaster.
I thought he meant that at first.
Yeah. Like the toaster that actually plays NES games. Yeah. So I guess we should move on to Mick Kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was when like, okay, like.
What did you think of the McKids episode?
I hate that episode, but it's like, I don't know. I mean, it's
because
not terrible.
McKids is not really a bad game. What happened was we were playing some games. We just thought that was funny because it's a McDonald's game.
It's gotta suck. It's a McDonald's game.
It's got Grimace in it. We were like, oh, this will make for some good comedy. But actually, the game isn't really that bad. Yeah. So it's kind of.
Yeah, as we were going, we're like, okay, yeah, the game sucks. Actually, it's okay. Yeah. You know what? It's actually pretty good. And then we already wasted like an hour playing it, and it was like, okay, so.
It was an excuse to make some McDonald's jokes, basically.
Yeah. It's like, oh, the people who made this game were paid minimum wage or something. Any McKids questions? No.
Made it to the lava. I was playing it with him, and I think we made it up to the lava stage where I think it shows it in the video when he jumps off and commits suicide. That's basically as far as we made it. And he says, "Toasty," you know.
We're just trying to think of like a funny way to end it too. So it was like we knew we could get past the part, but we were just like, let's just die here, and you know. Wally Bear and the No Gang. And oh, you know what? The biggest thing, I dropped the ball. Oh, twice actually. The Roger Rabbit video. There was a phone number in that game, and there was a phone number in the Wally Bear game. The phone number in the Roger Rabbit game used to give you like tips. You know, you'd call the number, but in the 20-something years, 25 years, whatever since the game, you know, the number has been disconnected, and now it's actually a number for a sex hotline. So you have a Nintendo game giving you a phone number for a sex hotline, and then Wally Bear actually had a phone number in it that had you call up and then like Wally Bear starts talking to you and like telling you, you know, not to do drugs and stuff. And
that's not connected anymore, right?
when we did the episodes, I forgot anything about the phone numbers. Like when I did Roger Rabbit, I just never thought to call the number and find that out. And then I never thought to do the Wally Bear number, even though the number's right on the first screen of the game. But then many years, or like maybe a year after the Wally Bear episode, for the DVD, I like added that in. And as soon as the DVD came out, that number got disconnected.
Yeah.
What's next? The next
Master
episode,
Chew, right?
Master Chew and the Drunkard Who.
That episode, Master Chew and the Drunkard Who, that was the one that had Shit Pickle in it. Mm-hmm. And Shit Pickle came from, Shit Pickle I drew, and that was from a project James and I did called The Wizard of Oz 3, Dorothy Goes to Hell. And Shit Pickle, Shit Pickle was a replacement for Toto, basically, in the movie. And anyway, so we ended up using him later on in the Master Chew episode.
It's supposed to be like one of those characters that can only say his name, like Grape Ape.
Yeah, exactly. Grape Ape.
And so it's like Shit Pickle, Shit Pickle, Shit Pickle.
But originally that video was actually, I don't know if any of you guys remember the DuckTales video game vault, but what that video was supposed to be was a review of the DuckTales game, and then at the end, the Master Chew thing was just going to be a bonus.
Well, he's Scrooge McDuck, and I guess he can do whatever the fuck he wants.
And then afterwards, James was like, I don't really want to talk about DuckTales because that's not a bad game. Like that's, you know, DuckTales is a good game. So that just got made into just the Master Chew, and then James added in Shit Pickle for comedic effect.
Because that video needed something. It was like that video was suffering. It's like there was nothing.
Yeah. There wasn't much to say about Master Chew, so that's why Shit Pickle had to come in.
Top Gun was next, and that one kind of got a little better, I think. Top Gun was one of the classic episodes.
The part, I remember playing that with you again, and I remember the one part we were doing, the part where they're like, there's 10 missiles, 20 missiles, and like 50 missiles, and we're sitting there like, wait a second, like why would you choose 10 missiles if you can just choose 50? Like choose more. Any Top Gun questions?
Were you ever able to land the plane?
Yeah, not at the time I did that video though, but it's since then I've done it in the you know, the revisited episodes where I like went back and like explained how things were done. Double Dragon 3.
Double Dragon 3. That is.
That was the one with Bimmy and Jimmy.
Right,
that was
Bimmy and Jimmy.
Yeah.
Bimmy isn't even a real name.
And this is where I think the series really kind of picked up for me, because like I said, I was kind of like burning out.
Yeah.
And then I was like, kind of like, okay, where does this go now? Like, I thought it was going to end, like I wasn't going to do anymore at one point. Then I did Friday the 13th, and that just like brought it all back. It was like, because that was the first time Mike ever really got involved, like on camera and everything.
In front of the camera.
Yeah, and it's funny actually how very slowly you became revealed, because at first you had a mask.
Yeah.
You never see his face.
I was
always
camera shy, and I didn't really want to be in front of the camera, but James was like, well, you'll have a mask on. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, but very slowly, like, then we did ones where he's in makeup, so it's not a mask anymore, but now it's just makeup on your face. Like the Lion and the Joker and the Klingon. And then very slowly it would be like less makeup, like the Joker had less makeup than like the Klingon, and then and then eventually it just became like, you know, now you're in the board James and you're just you now. He like slowly appeared from behind the scenes.
I had to be every character in the spectrum before I got to just being me.
Hey, what you got?
Does he really cheat?
Oh, sometimes, yeah, we both, you know, play mean sometimes. Yeah.
Did you even have the super scope? I don't think he had the super scope yet, or did you?
I must not have, because if I did, I probably would have used it. But I think maybe the zapper is just a little more iconic.
I think you also kind of like pulled it out of your back, and that probly, and then
yeah, I
you
would
know,
have it like it comes out. You know,
the scope probably wouldn't have worked anyway.
Hi. This is more about your earlier episodes, but what, like, since you were like always angry in those, obviously, but were there any like characters you were inspired by to like, you know, really trigger that anger?
For the nerd.
Yeah.
My boss at the time. I'm not even kidding. But it's true, yeah, you do think of like people you know or characters you've seen and you kind of put them all together and make your own character.
So after Friday the 13th came the continuation of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
And for that episode, there was a couple shots in there where it's me and I'm playing Freddy Krueger, but for most of the video, James is playing Freddy Krueger. A lot of time in shadow. We had a few other people helping. I think your wife also helped out a little bit on that episode, with the glove over the couch and all that.
Yeah, that's true. That was her hand at the end.
Just a question about when you started off with Friday the 13th and then into Nightmare on Elm Street. It's like from there, did you guys plan out to say, okay, like to bring some of your cinematic experience into it to actually make it as continuing stories and then keeping with that theme in later episodes? Was that like your plan is just go from one to one to one and just get like a nice smooth transition?
Yeah, at first I kind of felt like it could have kept going on maybe, because then the Power Glove really had no business being at the end. It just because the Freddy glove and the Power Glove, and we're like, oh, this is a good transition. And so yeah, I liked that. I liked having like a cliffhanger, but then it kind of got to the point where it was like, okay, when you do a cliffhanger and then people know what the next one is, they have like a whole month or whatever, you know, it would be before the next one.
They get really hyped up and then they might be disappointed.
Yeah. Hey, what you got right down there?
It's a bit off topic, but in the Little Red Hood episode, when you compared the music to the frothy sound of crackling ass, what do you think about that?
The frothy sound of crackling ass.
The music never changes. Every level is the same frothy sound of crackling ass.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I was just trying to come up with a way to compare the music to something. So I'm sitting. Sometimes I sit there for like an hour trying to come up with something. I'm like, what can I?
And then you're like, the crackling ass.
Yeah, because like, oh, it sounds like farts. What's another word for farts? I'm like, okay, what you got there?
With the Friday the 13th, why Friday the 13th? Why not Halloween? Why didn't you start with that? Was there any particular reason?
Halloween was a really rare game. Like that was like, you
and
know,
also Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Those Atari games were real expensive, and it took
like
us a while to get
$100 or
those.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are like $200 games or something. So.
We knew that would be the natural thing. Like
Yeah.
after we finished that, we were like, oh, if we're gonna do like 2 more next year, we gotta do Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But it took a while to get those. That's why.
Yeah.
I understand, since being angry all the time, like you said, can get a bit tedious. When you supposedly were beat up by Rob in the 100th episode, I kind of couldn't believe that you were trying to get more of an emotional response out of your audience right then. Have you ever wanted to get more of an emotional response out of your audience more than just laughing?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a very, very good question. Yeah.
Because you die in the episode.
Yeah, because it's kind of like when you do a short, web episode, it's not really something that you usually get into all the emotions. It's usually a quick fix, you get a laugh out of it and it's over. But then whenever I do have a chance, I try to have something a little more, like in the Battletoads episode when it flashes back to Kyle and he's living behind the couch. And he's and it's sad, It's I do like it when there can be another emotion in it. So, and that's more, and plus, I want to do a movie so I could kind of have the nerd kind of actually show him what are all his psychological complexes and everything. All right, so 8 years of nerd, we got through 1. So maybe we'll pick up the next. We'll do it the next 7 Too Many Games. So yeah. Thank you. And everybody, you know, keeps wishing me good luck with the movie, so thanks a lot for that. Thanks for supporting the film and getting it made and everything, because it wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for, you know, one, everybody actually, you know, supporting it and you know, donating and everything, and then two is just keeping alive the story of the E.T. game and everything, because it's the greatest game story of all time, and that's only just the acorn of what we're going to grow into the great oak of the story. So yeah, so just stay tuned on Cinemassacre for updates on that. So hopefully later this, I just posted like a 15-minute video like a couple weeks ago about just me talking about it, giving the updates, and then I posted an FAQ about it recently. But you know, hopefully by the end of the summer there'll be some more news, and we'll have like a trailer or something ready. So I hope, you know, it'll start going.
You want to bring the bullshit back? The bullshit's back?
The bullshit is back. You know, it's bullshit episodes. I'm really happy. You know what?
Let him know. Tell him that there's going to be like 10 of them.
I finished, you know, I just finished one. I just posted it recently. There's 9 more coming. So the rest of the summer, there'll be some more bullshit. Yeah.
That's not just bullshit. That's fucking bullshit.